This is Unbridled Expression, and I'm your host, Kymberlee della Luce. Every Wednesday, we talk about art, culture, creativity, and whatever else we're curious about. Thanks for listening. And if you like it, please do subscribe and share. Okay, so let's just get to it. I figured the first episode out. Welcome, by the way. Welcome to episode 1 of Unbridled Expression. Again, I'm your host, Kymberlee della Luce. And it seems as though it might be a good idea to talk about why I'm doing this. Honestly, I feel like we need a whole lot more stories from the margins. Do you know? Like we need to just get together and hang out and such. So I'm going to start with this poem that I wrote a few years ago. I was at the Fry Art Museum in Seattle, drinking in the Moment Magnitude exhibit. I wrote some pages in my journal and just sort of picked up random things I overheard people saying, snippets from the art descriptions or the videos, and my own feelings and thoughts that arose. I also took some pictures and that kind of thing. And when I was done, I put it all together, all these little snippets, and I wrote this poem. And I feel like I just would like to say, that's my intention for this show. My intention for this show is for it to be kind of a collage of all the things that are happening and a place to talk about it. I hope to have guests to interview, and let me put it this way: I intend to have guests to interview, and also share my own thoughts, and kind of just what's coming up. That's why it's called Unbridled Expression. All right, so here's the poem. We are not an equation with limitations. We are relative strength expanded. We are liberty in bold gold letters sewn to a leather vest, glittering in the sunlight. In constant transformation, marvelous moments. We are not sensible, tame, or constrained, more a movement. We are celebrating the exceptional, nursing our babies, sharing a meal, fucking under the stars, heads thrown back with deep, throaty laughter. We are floating light with deep roots, walking contradictions and soul signatures, more a movement. So, if that resonates with you, you'll probably really like this. I want to talk also a little bit about culture, like just kind of what's going on in this podcast. And so we'll start with recently, my family and I have been watching Dickinson, which if you haven't seen it, it's fabulous. It's about Emily Dickinson. It's almost like a visual poem, like there's this great music and it's like the music's really modern, but the costumes are from the era. And it's very feminist and very, it's like a lot of what I'm talking about. It's funny though, because Emily Dickinson's family was pretty privileged. They had a lot of white privilege, and they really call that out. It's very experimental on the show. And I realized that if I talk about this and you haven't seen the episode, it's going to be a spoiler. So, I guess I'd just like to say that the show really explores voices from various places, especially voices of women that, they create kind of cognitive dissonance as you head into watching the show that was set during the Civil War era in the United States, but is really, they just take everything and flip it, so that you get this experience of constantly questioning what you're seeing, which I love. And that's what I hope to do. I hope to help myself and anyone who chooses to listen to this show to sort of see things differently, to look at things from different angles, to see how things mash up and where we come together, where ideas come together, where they diverge. It's just kind of a way of exploring the intersections of things and the complexity. Because what I'm noticing right now is there's a lot of reductiveness, which just doesn't really help. Like when we reduce someone or something down, it has the potential to be dangerous. Like when we reduce people, we dehumanize them. When we don't see the full spectrum of a person or a group of people, we do ourselves a disservice, and we do them a disservice, because we have so much to learn from one another in this beautiful whole system that we're in. So yeah, I suppose on some level, some of this is going to be a little soapboxy from me. I'm spending my time doing this, and I'm going to get on my soapbox every now and again. But mostly I'm just really curious. I'm curious about the process. I've never done a podcast before, and I'm curious about who wants to listen. So if that's you, thanks for being here. So I want to read a quote from Paulo Freire. Hope I'm saying that right. It is from The Pedagogy of the Oppressed. He says, "The more radical the person is, the more fully he or she enters into reality, so that, knowing it better, he or she can transform it. This individual is not afraid to confront, to listen, to see the world unveiled. This person is not afraid to meet the people or to enter into a dialogue with them. This person does not consider himself or herself the proprietor of history or of all people, or the liberator of the oppressed, but he or she does commit himself or herself within history to fight at their side." This episode is mostly an introduction and also an invitation into the conversation that we can have together, an invitation to connect over ideas and to get more innovative and juicy and connected with one another. I'm really excited. I'm excited to do this, and not really sure where it's going, but excited to be on this journey. And I'm really glad that you came along for the ride. I don't know. I guess we'll see, huh? All right. Well, thanks again for being here. And I'll see you next Wednesday.